So welcome ladies and gentlemen, it's Premier League weekly time, we're back for another episode. It's predictions, it's matches, let's get into it. Okay, so let's dive right into it. We're going to get the predictions going in the first episode here of this week. Make sure you leave a comment. Let me know if you enjoy it. Let me know what you think of this idea that I've come up with. And I just thought, instead of putting out pairs all the time, let's talk about real football, the transfers, the fun and games of it all. You know, it's such an enticing football season, and it always is. Even though Man City, yeah, they're miles ahead. But there's still a lot to play for, whether it be relegation, second, third, fourth, whatever. So we're going to go through here. I do like the look of the PremierLeague.com website. It gives you a quick view. It tells you where the matches are going to be broadcasted, as well as sort of a bio about the team. So that's what we're going to do. Discuss it, 10 or so minutes, whatever it takes. I won't bore you too much, but leave your predictions as well. So the first thing is we're going to go through Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Alright, so we're going to go up to the 15th of January in this episode. 10 o'clock is Eastern time, for you wondering wherever you are. That's what I'm looking at. So it's 10 o'clock in the morning, the first game, Chelsea against Leicester at Stamford Bridge. It can be watched on NBCSN, which is, you don't have to have gold for that, which is good, or Universo, which I guess is maybe some sort of Spanish channel, I'm not quite sure there. Anyway, let's have a look at quick view, the recent results. So Chelsea, they're coming in this tie with a 2-2 draw against Arsenal. And I believe they also drew in the FA Cup, or the semi-final of the League Cup as well, earlier in the week. Then they beat 5-0 winners at Stoke, so they had a nice banging the goals in there. And then it was a 2-0 win against Brighton before that. So, you know, 7 points out of a possible 9 they're coming into. We look at Leicester. They beat Huddersfield 3-0. They lost to Liverpool. They lost to Watford. And they drew against Manchester United. You do a bit of maths there, and that's 4 points from 12. But they had some tough games. You know, they got a point against United. They shouldn't have, if I'm being honest. United shouldn't have conceded that late against 10 men. It's pathetic. And then, obviously, Liverpool as well, away from home, is never going to be easy. Now, the last time these two teams met, Chelsea have come out victorious. 2 wins in both of those, and they're leading the way with 16-point difference. Goal difference is not even close. I mean, 25-2. So on paper, you're fancying Chelsea, aren't you? And if we have a little bit of the old view match, this is pretty good because it gives you some information about it. Chelsea, they've lost only 1 of their last 11 meetings with Leicester City in the Premier League. 9 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Antonio Conte has won 25 of his opening 30 home matches, so he's done well. No manager in the competition has won more of their first 30. There you go, the Italian beast doing ever so well. Leicester have both scored and conceded in 14 of their last 22 matches this season, more than any other side. Not great there. And Jamie Vardy has scored more Premier League goals against the Big Six opposition than any other player, with 22 goals in 41 appearances since August of 2014. That's some pretty good stats. So Vardy could get on the score sheet. But will he? We'll have to wait and see. My prediction for this game. Okay, let's go to that straight away. I'm going to say Chelsea. I'm going to say they're going to win. I'm going to say probably a 2-0. I'm fancying Chelsea to win 2-0. Leicester scoring, unless Vardy can come up with something special, yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be Chelsea and probably a 2-0 win. Leave your predictions below. So let's have a look. Next up, Crystal Palace taking on Burnley. And before we do get into that, let's actually have a look at a quick view, because that's also quite interesting to look at. This one is on gold. Alright, so if you want to watch this match, and I keep pressing the wrong button there, you're going to have NBC Sports Gold. Does cost you some money. A little bit of a cheat there, to be honest. Quite annoying. But it is what it is. So Crystal Palace, they lost against, they beat Southampton. They beat them 2-1 in the last game. They drew against City. They lost to Arsenal. They drew against Swansea. So we've got 4 of 5 points from 12. But they did play Arsenal. They did play Man City and get a point. They should have beat them. They should have beat Man City that game. But they missed a penalty in the 90th minute. Burnley, on the other hand, they lost to Liverpool in the last game, 2-1. They drew against Huddersfield, they drew against United, and they lost to Tottenham. So only 2 points from their last 12. A they find themselves in 7th place, Burnley. Goal difference is 0. Crystal Palace is not great at -13. The last time these two met, Burnley was victorious both times, so could come into play. But it is at, of course, Selhurst Park. Home advantage could be key. So, did you know this? After losing 9 of their opening 11 Premier League matches this season, Crystal Palace have lost 1 of the following 11. Wow, what about that for a turnaround? With the old turkey neck coming in charge of that one. Burnley have won each of their last 3 Premier League matches against Palace and can beat a single side in 4 consecutive meetings for only the 2nd time, which was also Hull City. Burnley have unbeaten or are unbeaten in each of their last 3 Premier League matches in London, with 2 wins and 1 draw. This after losing 13 of their 15 previous visits to the capital. So who are we going to fancy on this one? You know, I'm going for a draw. I think this is going to be a close game, but I have a feeling it is going to be a draw. And I'm going to say a 1-1 or a 2-2. That's what I'm going for. Point each, I think that's a fair result. Moving on to the John Smith Stadium in Huddersfield, we've got Huddersfield Town taking on West Ham United. And we look at this one, Huddersfield, they lost to Leicester, they drew against Burnley, they drew against Stoke, and they drew against Southampton. So 3 from 12, a lot of draws, picking up a lot of draws in that period of Christmas time. West Ham, on the other hand, they drew against Tottenham. What an absolute belter of a game that was, cracking goals there. Then they beat West Brom before that. They drew against Bournemouth and they lost to Newcastle. So let's do a bit of maths there. They got 1, 2, 4, 5 points from 12. And it was West Ham who beat Huddersfield in the last match. Very, very close. This is the type of game where if you lose, they're going to open up a gap. You know, West Ham lose this, they go 5 points behind Huddersfield. They win, suddenly they're a point ahead of them. You know, they're pushing up there. So it's a big, big game for West Ham, more than Huddersfield. But obviously Huddersfield want to win it either way. So West Ham have won the reverse fixture 2-0 in September, but have never before won both league matches against Huddersfield Town in any of the previous 15 seasons they've met. Wow, that's a pretty big stat there. Huddersfield Town are winless in the last 4 Premier League matches, as we know, with the defeat at Leicester last time, following a run of 3 successive draws, which could prove dividend there. And West Ham have won 5 points from the last 3 Premier League away games. Nautovic has scored in their last 2 Premier League away appearances. So this one, 4th official's Mike Dean, like he's not refereeing. But I'm going to say a draw again. I fancy another draw in this matchup. Is it going to be a bore draw? Could we see a 0-0? I think we may see a 0-0. A 0-0 or a 1-1 is what I'm going to go for in this game. A Huddersfield draw in the last couple of games, and West Ham, yeah, I'm going to go for a draw. Might be completely wrong on that one, but a bore draw or a 1-1 is ultimately what I'm thinking there. Alright, Newcastle and Swansea, St James's Park. Another big game here. They're all big games. We're in the Premier League. So Newcastle, they beat Stoke, they drew against Brighton, they lost to City, and they beat West Ham. Decent run there. Swansea lost to Tottenham. Then they beat Watford before. They got smashed 5-0 against Liverpool, and they drew against Crystal Palace. 2 times these teams have met previously there. Newcastle won both matches, and on paper, or on the league standings, Newcastle have a 6-point lead ahead of Swansea. 13th to 20th. Yes, Swansea are bottom of the table, but you know what? They're turning things around. Swansea City have Leroy Fer available after the midfielder's appeal against the red card was successful. That's a big one for them. Big player that they would miss. Carl Norton is still out with a suspension. Newcastle have won their last 2 Premier League matches against Swansea. Swansea have won 3 of their 5 Premier League visits to St James's Park. At no away ground have won more. You know what? So this one, I'm going to go for Newcastle. It's at home. It's at St James's Park. And I'm feeling it. I'm thinking 2-1. That's what I'm going for. 2-1 Newcastle on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Put your money where your mouth is. You can watch this on Sports Gold as well. Do you agree with me or do you not? Let me know. Next one, what do we have? Match number 6 or 5 here. Watford against Southampton at Vicarage Road, also on NBC Gold. Watford, they have lost against City, they lost against Swansea, they beat Leicester, they lost against Brighton. So 3 out of 9 or 3 out of 12 points, not the greatest. Southampton, they lost to Crystal Palace, they drew against United, which is a good point for them. They got battered by Tottenham, and they drew against Huddersfield Town. There is 5 points separating these two teams, with Southampton down there near the relegation. And Southampton lost to Watford in the last game, but they beat them 4-3, an absolute classic back in March of 2017. So let's have a look at this. Watford's only home Premier League victory against Southampton came in their first meeting against them 3-2 in December of 1999. Wow, that's a long time ago. Southampton are winless in 9 Premier League matches. Only West Bromwich Albion are on a longer current such run. It's not looking good there, is it? So what are we thinking? Watford, Southampton. You know, I'm going to have to go for the home side. I'm going to have to go for Watford. I think it's going to be a tight game. But I'm going to say, you know, I'm fancying a 1-0 or a 2-0. Either way, I'm saying Watford win it. 1-0, 2-0. I think Southampton's slump is going to continue, unfortunately. And they really do need to start winning some games as they drop ever closer to that relegation zone. Next up, West Bromwich Albion, Brighton at the Hawthorns. That is also on gold. And West Bromwich Albion, they lost to West Ham. They drew against Arsenal. They drew against Everton. They lost to Stoke. So none of these teams really getting any kind of rhythm. Brighton drew against Bournemouth, drew against Newcastle, lost to Chelsea, and they beat Watford. There is 7 points separating these two teams. West Brom having a bit of a mare, aren't they, in 19th place. Brighton did beat them 3-1 before at home. So West Brom really have to win this one. They've got to go gun-ho. You know, they've got players that aren't bad. You know, they're just not performing. So Brighton and Hove Albion are without loanee Izzy Brown, who has returned to parent club Chelsea due to a torn ACL. That's not good. West Brom have faced Brighton in more home matches without defeat than have any other side in league history, with 9. But Brighton have won 3 of their last 4 matches against West Brom, including a 3-1 win, obviously, at the Amex Stadium. So, what do we think with this one? You know, it's going to be another tight one. I don't think any of these games are really going to be that open, and there's going to be tons of goals. But I'm thinking this one, 2-1 Brighton. I'm going for Brighton and Hove Albion. West Brom, just looking at the form, the confidence isn't there right now, is it? And I'm going to go for Brighton. I'm going to say about 2-1. No, my luck, I get all of these wrong. Anyway, the last one on Saturday is a pretty good one. Spurs against Everton at 12:30 at Wembley. A little bit later. Multiple broadcasters for this one. It's on NBC and Universo if you're looking to watch it. So, Tottenham lying in 5th. 14-point difference between these two teams in the table. Quite a large amount. Tottenham drew against West Ham 1-1, as we know. They beat Swansea, they beat Southampton, and they beat Burnley. So they're on a good run there with, 10 points out of 12. You look at Everton, been a bit of a struggle for them. They lost to United in the last game, didn't look convincing. Lost to Bournemouth as well. They drew against West Brom, and then they drew against Chelsea. So just 2 points from 12 right there. Last time these two teams met, Everton lost. Not once but twice. I mean, they've conceded 6 goals there between those 2 matches, scoring just 2. So I think this one on paper, and I think most people predicting this, they're gonna say Spurs. Tottenham are unbeaten in their last 10 Premier League matches against Everton, won 5, drawn 5. Their longest such run against them since 13 between 97 and 2003. Not great there for Everton, is it? Only 29.6% of Everton's points this season have come away from home, the lowest ratio in the competition. And just to sum it up, Harry Kane has scored a brace in each of his last 2 Premier League appearances against Everton. Only 6 players have ever scored 2 or more goals in 3 consecutive appearances, and it could happen again. I'm going to go for... I think Tottenham are going to score at least 3, if I'm being honest. I can see a 3-1 or a 3-0 in this match. I think Tottenham are going to continue to flourish, and Everton continue to lack any kind of creativity there coming forward. And that's my prediction. Let's go for that one. Do you agree? Let me know. So let's move into Sunday. This is a bit of a long video. I do apologise, but you get in talking and you start splouting on. So we've got Bournemouth and Arsenal at the Vitality Stadium. That can be seen on NBC Sports or Telemundo on Sunday at 8:30 in the morning Eastern Time, if you want to get up nice and early. Bournemouth have drawn their last game. They lost to Everton. Also, they beat Everton. They drew against West Ham. They got battered by Manchester City. Arsenal, on the other hand, they've drawn, and they beat Crystal Palace 3-2. Arsenal lying in 6th, but it hasn't been, like I said, the greatest run for them. 39 points. Bournemouth down there in 16th. They are, what's the maths on that one? 17 points behind them, 18 points behind them. It's a long difference and a big difference there. Arsenal beat Bournemouth in the last game, and last year in January, just over a year ago now, they drew 3-3 with Bournemouth. So any news? Arsenal fought from 3-0 down, remember that match? Yeah, to earn a point in this exact fixture last season, the only time they've ever done that from such a deficit. Bournemouth have won their last home game against Everton, but have not won back-to-back Premier League matches at Vitality Stadium since March of 2017. And I think this is probably going to be the same. I think Arsenal will bounce back, and I'm going to say 2-1, 2-0 to the Gunners. Or this could happen. It could be 2-1, that's up the hair, and in the 90th minute, Bournemouth get an equaliser. That's what I'm going to predict. Either Arsenal win 2-0, 2-1, or there's going to be some sort of an equalising goal in the 90th minute. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just feeling something like that for that matchup. Moving on to the second to last game, and it's a big one. It's Liverpool, it's City, it's the game of the week, ultimately at Anfield, 11 o'clock. I'll definitely be up to watch that one. NBC, it can be seen on, and Telemundo. And let's have a look at this one. As we know, Liverpool's run has been relatively good, to be honest. I mean, they beat Burnley, they beat Leicester, they smashed Swansea, and they drew against Arsenal, and they were 3-1 down, I believe, in that match. So, 10 points from 12. Let's look at Man City. Beat Watford, drew against Crystal Palace. They should have lost that one, but it was a poor penalty. And they beat Newcastle, so you've got, 7 out of 9 points. There's a big gap, isn't there? But there's a big gap between first and second, because Man City are just dominating everyone this year. There's nearly a 20-point gap, 18 points there between the two. But look at that goal difference, 51 for Man City already. They've got a chance to go in triple digits if they can continue the way they are. Last time these two met, 5-0 rollicking City gave Liverpool, and it was a 1-1 draw before that of March of last year. So Liverpool could give a Premier League debut to their January signing. Obviously Virgil van Dijk, I would say he's going to play, has to play. Perfect game for him to get involved. Top scorer Mohamed Salah and striker Daniel Sturridge are both back in training. Obviously I think Salah is the key one there. Daniel Sturridge, people forget about him after time. Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 14 Premier League home matches against City, winning the last 4 in a row. City won the reverse fixture 5-0 in September, but have not done a league double over Liverpool in more than 80 years. So is it going to happen? Is it going to happen on Sunday? I'm thinking, I don't know, this has got a draw written all over it. It's got a draw written all over it with goals. I'm going to say 2-2. I think either way it's going to be close. It's going to be a 2-2, right? Or City's winning or unbeaten run is going to continue, and City will score late. They seem to do it a lot, and I'm going to say that. So they're either going to score late, they're going to win 3-2 or something, or it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I think City have just got too much going forward for them. And yeah, that's my prediction. So the last one of today, my team, Manchester United, at Old Trafford, 3 o'clock on a Monday. Can be seen on NBC Sports and Universo. Let's take a look at this one. And we've got a 20-minute video here nearly. Jeez. So Manchester United, they beat Everton, they drew against Southampton, they drew against Burnley, and they drew against Leicester. It was a poor run of form for them to pick out 3 points out of 9, which really hurt them when it came to trying to keep pace with City, which is gone now. Stoke, on the other hand, they lost against Newcastle, lost against Chelsea heavily, drew against Huddersfield, but they did beat West Bromwich Albion, but they are down the bottom of the table. Last time these two met, it's been 2 draws. 2-2. and 1-1. And there's the difference between the two. 27 points. Stoke down in 18th place. They've had a really bad season, Stoke. I don't want to see them go down, but they really have to sort of turn it around if they're going to get anywhere this season. So having a look at this one, Man United have won 25 of possible 27 points in the Premier League home matches against Stoke, with the only points dropping coming in their exact fixture last season with a 1-1. Stoke City are winless in their last 17 trips to Old Trafford in all competitions. Martial has been directly involved in 3 goals in his last 2 home Premier League appearances against Stoke, with 2 goals and 1 assist. So more than likely he'll be playing. I'm going to say United are going to win this one. Not because I'm their fan and I support them, but because I think at home, if this was away, it'll be a totally different fixture. Playing at Stoke is a nightmare. A lot of teams drop points, but at Old Trafford, if United can play the way they did against Everton, and they have to, and Pogba performs, Lukaku will be back, obviously, I feel, up top. Rashford's been disappointing for me lately, but I feel United will win this. I think they'll keep a clean sheet. I want to say 2-0. I think they'll copy Everton's win. I just hope they don't score like 2 goals, sit back and invite pressure, because Stoke aren't that type of team and they like to play the long balls. So yeah, I'm going to go Man United 2-0 and sort of see what happens there. Anyway, that is all for today, ladies and gentlemen. It's a long one. It's an absolute whopper, I know, but I wanted to get this out there. Let me know what you think of it. Predictions, leave them in the comments. We'll be back next week with some more predictions. Let's quickly have a look at what we will be taking a look at after these matches are completed. We'll be back for Saturday, January the 20th. Any big games to come? Nothing too crazy there. So Chelsea are away, Man United are away, Spurs and Liverpool all away from home. So could be some points being dropped. Find out next week what we think. But until next time, subscribe for more. Leave your predictions. Remember, leave them below. Until next time, take care.